Meanwhile, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Afghanistan's acting Foreign Minister Amir Muttaqi have held an official conversation. This marks India's first ministerial-level engagement with the Taliban. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar thanked the Taliban Foreign Minister for condemning the Pahalgam attack and also debunking Pakistan DGISPR's claims about Indian missiles hitting Afghanistan. Dr. Jaishankar also addressed attempts by Pakistan to spread false narratives linking Taliban to Jammu and Kashmir terrorism and claiming that India hit Peshawar. Muttaqi, on the other hand, has requested India to issue more visas to Afghan nationals for medical purposes and increase bilateral trade via the Chabahar port. Let's quickly listen in to what has been said so far.
Alhamdulillah, एयरफोर्स के एसेट्स तमाम महफूज हैं। इसके अलावा भारत ने अफगानिस्तान में भी मिसाइल दागे हैं और ड्रोन्स का हमला भी अफगानिस्तान पर किया है। भारत अपने पागलपन और जाहरियत के ज़रिए और अपनी मकारी के ज़रिए पूरे खित्ते को एक खतरनाक जंग की तरफ धकेल रहा है।
There is this yet again completely ludicrous claim that Indian missiles have hit Afghanistan. Totally frivolous allegation, and I only want to point out that Afghan people don't need to be reminded about which country it is that has on multiple occasions in just the last 1.5 years targeted civilian populations and civilian infrastructure in Afghanistan.
There you've heard it, some of the claims that have been debunked, but what does it mean for the future? How crucial is it for India to now develop this relationship with Afghanistan, given the recent developments with Pakistan, where Pakistan today and its intentions vis-a-vis the subcontinent's stability stand exposed? I take that conversation forward. Major and Sudhakarji with us on the broadcast is also Sumit Peer, Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee and Dr. Shubhra Chaudhary with us as well. Let me begin this conversation with Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee. Ambassador Mukherjee, how critical was it for us to have our first ministerial level talks with Afghanistan ever since the Taliban have taken over, given the strategic importance of Afghanistan for India?
It was very important, and let us not forget that the Taliban leadership condemned the cowardly attacks and executions in Pahalgam in strongest terms, and the fact is that the Pakistanis had thought that with the Taliban in power in Afghanistan, Afghanistan would be used as what they call strategic space against India. But the wheel has turned full circle, and the Taliban has completely fallen out with the Pakistani leadership and has actually reacted very positively to gestures of friendship which we have made from time to time, and they have used back channels to convey to us that they would like to have a normal relationship with India. That includes, for instance, sending students here. It includes sending patients here because their medical facilities are not very developed, etc. And they also would like to do a lot of trade with us, and for that we would have to probably use the Chabahar port, because the Pakistanis have been resisting trade between Afghanistan and India overland through Pakistan. Moreover, the Durand line, which one of my colleagues, Dr. Rajiv Dogra, once mentioned, is like a knife held to a Pathan's heart. The Durand line, as long as it stays, there can never be a lasting peace between Pakistan and Afghanistan, because that line has no logic whatsoever. It has been drawn in a manner which cuts through, as they say, cuts through the Pathan land. So I think that this meeting is the beginning of a new relationship with the Taliban. There are issues which we have problems with, and that includes their treatment of women. But I think that we can take a pragmatic approach and first begin with those issues on which we can move forward. That includes a common strategic vision in the region, including towards Pakistan. That includes trade. We could facilitate some categories of visas as they want, particularly the medical visas, etc. And we already have a diplomatic presence in Kabul. We've had that for a while. And they also have a diplomatic presence here. The issue only is that what name should be given to the embassy, because it's still in the name of the old regime. So that is something that has to be sorted out through the UN. But in the meantime, we have been able to work around these issues and develop a working relationship, which we've seen now in the excellent conversation between our External Affairs Minister and his counterpart in Afghanistan. Devika.
Absolutely. Major and Sudhakarji, your take on the same side. I want to understand from your perspective, how critical is it for India to now genuinely focus on fostering this relation? I'm not saying that we haven't in the past, but after what's happened in the past 1 month, there is now a very clear realization that a lot has changed for India going forward. How critical does it become for us to foster and maintain very clear relationship with the Taliban in Afghanistan?
Devika, good morning. Thank you for getting me to your show. Morning, I'm sure you are aware as to where I am speaking from, and also partially I'm into the similar issues on track too. I should not go beyond what I've just stated. It's a fantastic move by India. It's a realpolitik in 21st century. One should be mindful of the fact that everything is not idealistic or moralistic to talk about the rules-based international order. We should keep our eyes and ears open how the non-state actors in the world order are gradually getting legitimized, and we are also mindful of the fact how Haqqani leader has been gradually been integrated or assimilated or accepted by the United States. And one should not also ignore the fact that the same Bagram airfield, which had been abandoned by the American forces, has been reoccupied and it is being developed further. So there are some meaning and implications of all this development taking place. Also, we should not lose sight of the fact that what is happening in Syria. The same leader who was, there was a bounty on his head, he's become a hero, international hero overnight, with Donald Trump visiting. So these are the realpolitik that one should factor in to suit our national interest. So towards that end, I think a very humble beginning has been made at the ministerial level. This is a very substantive approach to isolate Pakistan. The need of the hour is, I just heard you prior to coming to our central theme, which is being discussed here. There is a need. I have been traveling a lot, gone to Europe. I'm here in the transatlantic, the land massive here, traveling. Unfortunately, the Western media platform, Devika, if you allow me, I was carrying out an analysis in past 2-3 days, despite India having done an extraordinary job and hands down victory over Pakistan in Operation Sindoor. I was really shocked and surprised to hear that the narrative was not in favor of India. It is going in favor of Pakistan. So when I started going into the details, I found that all the Western media platform who were building up a narrative against India or in favor of Pakistan had some newsreader or anchor or somebody from Pakistan in each of the platform. Unfortunately, I did not find any footprint of the presence of our Indian diaspora working in those kind of establishments. So there is a need. The move of this ministerial movement going across to all the countries, telling our part of the story of Operation Sindoor is going to do very well. We also need to keep in mind that while dealing with the Taliban, when the minister is speaking, there are going to be very serious pitfalls. Pitfalls in the sense we know that Russia has already given due recognition to the Taliban. China is almost, it is in the process of, hugging them. Also, while China and Russia are playing a very vital role, we should not lose sight of the fact that as far as the subcontinent is concerned, with regard to India and Pakistan, Operation Sindoor, there is a strategic rivalry which is on between China and USA. China has not taken it kindly. I'm seeing it from 18,000 kilometers away, when USA is actually claiming the ceasefire was the bona fide contributions of USA, ceasefire between India and Pakistan. China, as a regional power or a rising global power, doesn't want it to let it go that way. It wants to have its say and assert its authority by being a kind of a global power or the rising power in times ahead. Last but not the least, Devika, it's a great move by our Minister of External Affairs under the leadership of Narendra Modi. And I think in times ahead, this is going to definitely pay dividends in view of the articulations made by our Ambassador ma'am. One is mindful of Chabahar port and the north-south corridor, what it means. One is also mindful of the fact what is happening in the Balochistan. And this is another issue that we need to extend meaningfully and engage with Balochistan in a substantive form so as to isolate Pakistan from all sides. Thank you so much, Vedika. Back to you.
Okay, Dr. Shubhra Chaudhary, just from your perspective, your thoughts on the same. How critical is it for India to continue fostering a good relationship with the Afghanistan, with the Taliban at this point in time, given that there are a lot of clear differences between Afghanistan and Pakistan at this point as well? Pakistan really seems to be struggling to make any sort of headways with the Talibani establishment. So how can India perhaps use the situation to its own benefit?
Thank you so much for calling me. The first point is that why is there tension between Pakistan and Afghanistan? The first reason is not accepting the Durand line, which Taliban believes is a British colonial imposition. Second is also that more than 7 lakh Afghani refugees who were in Pakistan had been deported over the period of past 2 years. That really made the Afghani economy suffer a lot. Understand that Afghanistan is a landlocked economy completely. It is the Saudi Arabia of lithium. It has very high reserves of copper and rare earth minerals. But at the same time, in spite of that, it has been the poorest, one of the poorest neighboring countries of in South Asia, just as Balochistan has been. Now coming back to, is it the first time that India has had a diplomatic communication with Taliban? No. In fact, to engage your audience, I would like to say that we all have seen John Abraham's movie called The Diplomat that has come on Netflix recently. And he is actually portraying the High Commissioner in Islamabad from India, JP Singh, who is currently the Indian ambassador to Israel. Now, why is JP Singh important? After 2022, JP Singh, who was the head of Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan division of Ministry of External Affairs, took many visits to Kabul. In fact, after Pahalgam, on 23rd of April itself, Taliban gave a statement because Pakistan was trying to say that it was Taliban which was involved. Then on 27th of April, JP Singh went to Kabul and met with the Taliban's acting foreign minister, Maulvi Amir Khan Muttaqi. Second thing is that on 8th of January this year, because of JP Singh, there was a high-level delegation meeting in Dubai between our Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri and the Foreign Minister of Taliban, where India had committed that it will give around 5,000 metric tons of wheat, polio vaccines, many other incentives which are for human rights to Afghanistan. At the same time, there are more than 14,000 Afghan nationals on scholarship in India as of 2023. So this is not, also from the side of India, in 24, 2024 December, Pakistan had done strikes in Paktati province of Afghanistan. India came out condemning these strikes and supporting Afghanistan. Now, the fact is that Afghanistan and Pakistan also have tensions because initially Pakistan supported Taliban. But when they realize that Taliban is having its own foreign policy, specifically when it comes to China, Russia, and India, the divisions between the two started to grow bigger and bigger. As of now, when it comes to Operation Sindoor and the optics of it, I would agree with our speaker Sudhakarji that a lot of, in the Western media outlets, like, I would not like to name them, but it's all in public domain, that there are many Pakistani authors who are writing and that's why changing, causing this fog of war or cognitive dissonance. Now, the fact of the matter is that India needs to also, along with Donald Trump taking the entire credit at least 6 to 7 times on a roll, but India needs to take the entire perception of what exactly happened in Operation Sindoor, what was the impact, what was the terror attack in Pahalgam, why TRF is connected with Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, what is the smuggling and narco trade network, Hawala trade, and the zakat system that they use, what is the entire structure of root of financial networks that they use. These all things are important for internal security, and NIA has done a tremendously brilliant job in it. But we need to also be mindful of, because Pakistan is not going to look weak. Understand that TRF was started after Pakistan in 2018 was put into FATF. So the point here is that another attack or another skirmish or another snowballing attempt by Pakistan can happen in the future. So to what degree is Afghanistan going to support us? And what is the entire real political advantage in the longer process of having Afghanistan as a friend? It is a friend, but Afghanistan and Pakistan have their own issues. We have to be mindful of that.
Okay. All right. Sumit, I want to bring you in on the point of the Chabahar port, which was mentioned, by some of the speakers. Somewhere there is, of course, a conversation that the Chabahar port's potential is limited at this point in time because of the presence of US sanctions against Iran. India has been trying to address some of these challenges through agreements and other such methods. But how critical then is it for us to also have a conversation with countries like the United States of America, whose decisions could have a larger impact on India, Afghanistan and Iran's plans for the Chabahar port, which is, like I said, strategically very critical for India at this point in time. We need access to Afghanistan, to the Chabahar port, to bypass Pakistan and have our own avenue into Central Asia.
Devika ji, thank you for having me on your show. Well, my answer will be in two parts. One is what we see and what we don't see. What we see is brilliant. I think all the previous speakers have articulated it's all good, happy, hunky-dory, and that is what you expect from Dr. Jaishankar, and he has done the best what he could do. But see the other side of it, which we are ignoring, and I'll be blunt and direct on what is the other side. The other side is that Khamenei is tweeting that Kashmir is like Gaza. Written mein, it's not what I'm saying. First thing. Iran's foreign minister is saying it's good diplomacy because if you don't hit Pakistan, that is good diplomacy. So don't hit Pakistan. He was trying to come here to bail out Pakistan. Mr. India, don't hit Pakistan. Let's stop. Baatcheet karte. Point number 3. After this meeting of Dr. Jaishankar Saab, Chinese have went to Afghanistan. Pakistanis have come there. My question is, what is China and Pakistan doing in Afghanistan? What are they cooking? Point number 4, after this meeting, go to Balochistan. Balochis issue a warning against Chinese nationals in Balochistan in particular. They are hunting more Chinese than Pakistanis today since last 24 hours. Point number 5, what are Afghan mercenaries seen in Balochistan after this meeting? Point number 7, what are these new watchtowers which are coming up in POK which are manned by Chinese? What is happening in Chinese equipment and Chinese engineers moving to POK? What is China up to? And what is Turkey trying to intervene in all this? What are Turkish drones doing protecting CPAC? It's a new development, last 24 hours. What are Turkish drones doing there? Who has deployed them there? And what is Turkey trying to do? Turkey is trying to organize a meeting between Marco Rubio and the terrorist foreign minister of Syria, who's an ISIS terrorist, in Turkey, and Russian and Ukrainian peace talks, so-called, are supposed to again happen in Turkey. So Turkey is becoming a player, and Trump on record says, Erdogan called me and said, please remove sanctions from Syria. Though, Qataris paid around 400 billion and Saudis paid around 600 billion, investments and all. There was $1 trillion on the table, I understand that. So the dynamics is changing. After Operation Sindoor and our some strategic reinforcements, I will not name the places near the LOC, and two specific areas around our border with Pakistan. What is the need for that? DGMO says that will be have a ceasefire up to 18th. But why all the leaves of army personnel are cancelled? So where are our satellites looking right now? I will not name where, but where are they looking right now? So if you look at all these developments, the first thing with Taliban is terrorists are terrorists. There's nothing called a good terrorist or a bad terrorist. I can change my colors if it suits me today. Yes, it was very important for Dr. Jaishankar to go to break that myth. We attacked Afghanistan. To break that myth, we are against Afghanistan. Yes, we are with the people of Afghanistan. But you know one fact about Afghanistan. Birth rate is 3.5%, one of the highest in the world. Death rate is 13%. It's a country where more people die than 3 times when they are born. And still there's an ISIS Khorasan problem which is there. Still Haqqanis have complete access to Pakistan's ISI. They will take their dictation even today. And with all these things coming up, having a residual and a working relationship with Afghanistan and doing the humanitarian part is good. But if you want to go beyond that, what I see, there's an excess which has involved in the last 48 hours, which involves Afghanistan, Pakistan and China. So do we want to get entangled into that? Is a minefield where people want to get us in? Look, Chinese can put a lot of money, and as far as the Afghans resources are concerned, ma'am, in last 9 years, pull out data. How much of mineral could be extracted from Afghanistan? Chinese have done these contracts in the past. Nothing. It's not possible to extract. It's not easy to extract. It is not viable to extract. So looking at this complex scenario where they have 51 jihadi organizations. Today they have more than 51 jihadi organizations who have divided their areas and spheres of influence. So it is a thing where we keep away, where we make an arm's distance, we have some kind of a residual relationship. Yeah, we care for the people of Afghanistan, but thinking and believing that, we have achieved something great. Because these people are untrustable. They can change tomorrow morning. I don't know what happened in today's meeting. I was flabbergasted to see after that meeting what are Afghan mercenaries, Afghani Pathani mercenaries doing in Balochistan. And BLA has officially confirmed it. So the geopolitics of the region is changing much faster than you and me can track today. And looking at those perspectives, we have to be very, very careful with these guys. And when it comes, I will be direct. One day it comes to, kind of supporting Muslim Pakistan and a Hindu Hindustan. Though you will need Hindustan for khana, pani, dawai, daru, everything will come for Hindustan. But you will see, push comes to shove, one day they will start them tilting towards Pakistan. Because that is what the local politics is, that is what the compulsions are. And what is the cost and implication of Modi government cozying up with Afghanistan? Cozying up with Taliban, there's also cost and implication internationally as well as domestically. So if you analyze all what I've been trying to tell you, and if you want, I can go for another 30 minutes and tell you all the facts line by line, and with all the commas and apostrophes with the timestamp on it. But that's not important. I've given you all the major points what have happened in the last 48 hours. At that point of time, Devgaji, looking at all this, we need to tread with caution. But having said that, this is the best Dr. Jaishankar could do for international semantics, optics, and what we do at the diplomacy show. ठीक है, अच्छी बात है. But at the ground level, the things might not look on the top. It's when you look at the surface of the water, you cannot imagine the depth of the water. That is the logic which works with Afghanistan.
Okay, Master Mukherjee, I'll leave the last word with you, ma'am. Your take on the Chabahar port, and how crucial is it for India to now really work on a war footing as far as that front is concerned?
The Chabahar port, we've always given it high priority, and I do believe that the meeting between EM and his counterpart should take into account the deep strategic dissonance between Afghanistan, whether it's Taliban or any other government, and Pakistan because of the Durand line. That is a given. That goes beyond religion. That goes beyond Sunni Shia. That goes beyond Muslim Hindu. I have to reiterate here that those strategic fault lines between the Taliban in Afghanistan or any other regime and Pakistan is not going to go away because of the Durand line. And that those fault lines are precisely those which we are taking advantage of. We are fully aware of what is happening here and there. I feel very uncomfortable when I hear some of the remarks from my co-panelists, which are actually of the nature of highly confidential or secret information, which should not be disseminated, in my perspective as a professional diplomat, on national television, who went where, who met whom. That I really feel should be avoided, because it's not in our strategic national core interest. Having said that, I would like to add that names of persons who've gone and met who should also be avoided for their own safety and security. Finally, I would like to say that we calculate our move strategically long time in advance. We are fully aware of what is happening around us. We are fully aware that there are new equations emerging which are trying to give a spin to our huge military victory of Operation Sindoor. But the country is united, the people are united, the armed forces are united, and we will continue to do what it takes. At the same time, I would strongly urge, Devika, that such sensitive issues should not be discussed in such
Absolutely.
detail on national television,
make one point,
and no names of anyone should be given for their own security. Thank you.
Devika, I need to make
Absolutely.
one
Okay, Sumit, 20
Yeah.
seconds to you.
Yeah, whatever I have told is available on the Google and Open Media.
I was referring to you,
Anything
Sumit.
which is
I was
not available
not
on the
referring. I was not referring to Mr. Sumit P. Raton. You didn't give any names.
Yeah,
I
I
was
didn't.
referring to my other co-panelists who
No,
gave.
but the fact is, ma'am, that all the information and the credit should be given to anyone who deserves it. All of that is available.
My dear, I
All
am
of that is
70 years
available.
old. I've done diplomacy for 40 years. Naming people on national television in this manner is
It's
very
giving
dangerous.
credit. You cannot
Okay.
infantilize us. I'm sorry.
It's
You
Okay.
cannot infantilize us.
It's my perspective. Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Everything is
I think we
available
can
online.
all. Okay, all right. I think we can all agree to disagree at this point in time. That would be a cordial and civil note to end this very critical discussion on. Once again, I thank all of our panelists for joining us on the broadcast to take this conversation forward. That's all the time that we have, viewers. We have to step into a very quick break.